Hi guys, it's Han here. Today we're going to check out a 2024 Toyota Venza, which is about to say goodbye to us again. Thanks to Jay for help. Bye Toyota, call Jay. Welcome to Subscribe My Car Reviews channel, both in English and Chinese. Thanks you all for subscribing, liking, commenting, sharing, and lighting up the bell. Toyota Venza is positioned in the mid-size 5-seat SUV segment in the US market all the time. The first generation of the product was introduced in the 2009 model year, when it was a product special for the North American market. Later, due to poor sales, it temporarily bid farewell to the US market for the 2015 model. In the 2020 model year, the second generation Venza makes a comeback and debuts in the US market together with the brand new Sienna product. This time, only the name Venza comes back. The product is no longer the original Venza product exclusively for North America. It is a global product. Although it is still positioned in the 5-seat mid-size SUV segment in the US market, its dimensions are not much different from the current RAV4, except that the Venza is a little bit longer. The new Venza has been affected by supply shortages since its launch. It has been hard to find a single one on the market. In addition, its product positioning is relatively vague. Up, the Highlander continues to explore the market. Down, the passenger vehicle sales champion RAV4 continues to expand its sales space. All these made Venza's living space smaller and smaller. Finally, Toyota announced that the 2024 Venza will be the last year model of its second generation products, which will be replaced by the new Toyota Crown Signia. In fact, to be fair, Venza's sales of 30,000 to 40,000 units each year are still acceptable if it is placed in someone else's family and the volume is adequate, as long as Toyota does not take it seriously. But unfortunately, it was born in the Toyota family. On the one hand, Toyota Venza's performance hardly satisfies Toyota. On the other hand, the Toyota family fully attaches importance to the new Crown model system. In this way, the second generation Venza has to say goodbye to us. Let's take this video today as a commemoration for us. Since the Venza was launched, there has been only one powertrain in the US market, which is Toyota's signature hybrid system, the 2.5-liter hybrid system. Maximum combined 219 horsepower. All are four-wheel drive. Front McPherson, rear multi-link suspension design, and the curb weight is not too heavy for a hybrid model. The Venza comes with a 14.5-gallon or 55-liter fuel tank. In combined condition, Venza can run 39 miles in 1-gallon gas or 6-liter gas per 100 kilometers, according to EPA. Although it's the last model year, Toyota hasn't changed much about the trims of the 24 model Venza. It feels like a hasty curtain call. Compared with the manufacturer's suggested retail price of 23 models excluding shipping costs, the prices of 24 models at all levels have increased by more than $1,000. Today we're looking at a used car for sale here at Jay's Here, a 2024 Toyota Venza LE trim. With fabric seats, two 2560R18 all-four wheels, this car rolled out of the Japan plant in October 2023, and as of the time of my drive, it had just over 1,000 miles on it. From the appearance point of view, this generation of Venza is indeed not as big as the previous generation, nor as domineering as the previous generation. In terms of design style, it does not seem to be as ostentatious as the previous generation. This generation seems to be much more graceful. From the photos of the North American version of the Crown SUV released by Toyota, we can see that the overall dimensions of the Crown SUV should be larger than the Venza. Appears to be an advantage in size over this vehicle. From the front face, it seems to have a time travel feeling. The front of this vehicle also has a forehead feel. At that time, we did not realize that it was about to become a common design for the big Toyota series. A very thick chrome-plated bright strip runs from left to right, which can be found on many current Toyota products. The overall design of the center grille is relatively downward, which also has the effect of lowering the center of gravity. This is also a commonly used design technique on Toyota family models. There's no fog lights in the front, they're blocked. There are two vents on either side, but they're just decorative, they don't really direct the air. The most protruding thing at the front is this chrome-plated bright strip. From the side, we can also clearly see that it is very different from the popular design style of the Toyota family now. Its overall design is relatively rounded, unlike the products currently designed by Toyota's North American team that are all straight-edged. Judging from the design lines and shapes, its design is somewhat related to the Prius and Crown, all of which were designed by Japan design team. The side has a very obvious shape with low front and high rear. The rear is much higher than the front, and the shape of the side windows has shape change according to this low front and high rear shape. Even on this LE trim, Toyota has not reduced the decoration of chrome bright strips and still embellishes chrome bright strips in some necessary positions. The opening angles of the four doors are not exaggerated at all, and the vehicle body is wrapped by the lower edges of the doors. Using my height as a reference, I don't need to use any pedals to get on and off this car, and there is no inelegant posture. Even in this LE trim of the Venza, The front two windows are double glazed, while the rear two are single glazed. In the Venza lineup, there's a choice of 18 and 19-inch wheels. This is the lower trim, with 4 18-inch wheels, and Venza's brake discs are the same size across the series, with 12-inch diameter ventilated discs in the front. The rear uses a solid 11-inch diameter disc. I personally feel that the rear design of this vehicle is relatively good looking. Compared to its front and side, it feels more design-like. At the same time, compared to the straight edge and right-angle design of the current Toyota family, the rear design, it's more graceful. It can also be clearly seen that this is not the work of an American team. Because it is a large 5-seat model, there is no design anxiety about the third row of seats. In addition, the size is not small, and the rear can have a relatively large-angle fastback style unscrupulously. Above is a spoiler integrated with a high-mounted brake light, and below is the rear wiper. A relatively sporty platform is made on the lower edge of the rear windshield. The through-type taillights determined the latest design style of the family at that time. Looking at the rear from the side, the shape of the rear appears relatively complicated, convex and concave where they should be. The division of labor among the lighting groups is clear. Underneath the bumper, there's each a light strip on the left and right side. The styling below the bumper position is relatively simple, each one exhaust on left and right, in the form of straight outlets. Venza's key, latest family key. The rear tailgate liner is just black plastic, and it's not functional, because the vehicle has a strong low front high back shape. The lower edge of the trunk is relatively high, and you can see that cause there is a relatively large angle fastback shape at the back. There is no problem with the depth lower the trunk, but the space above is affected to a certain extent. The opening of the trunk does not appear to be very large. Nothing functional on the left. Nothing on the right either. The entire trunk has only one light on the right side. The Venza is also a hybrid, but it comes with a spare tire, and the spare tire hole is still very deep. Above are simple tools. This is the space performance after folding down the second row. Venza's interior center design is overall more similar to the RAV4, which is no longer a common design style for the latest family of Toyota brands, or even the Toyota family. But even the LE trim of Venza is not as low profile as the LE trims of other Toyota products. Its steering wheel is also an power-controlled 4-way adjustable leather steering wheel. All 4 windows with one-touch up-down function. The keys on the left side of the steering wheel don't seem very full, due to low configuration. It doesn't have a head-up display, and the dashboard is still a relatively large LCD screen with 2 physical gauges, which is a common part from Toyota's previous small screen era, and the information on the screen is adjusted through this set of keys on the left side of the steering wheel. The information showed are very Toyota. I always think this screen wants to show you more information on one interface. At first glance, it looks a little messy, but the information displayed is quite rich. The steering wheel is also a common part of the family, and will not be unfamiliar to those who are familiar with Toyota. The leather on the steering wheel is very fine. The steering wheel is not too thick. The shortcut keys above and the lever at the back are common parts of the family, and there are no paddle shifters. The lights have automatic opening and closing, and automatic high beam functions. Front wipers without rain sensing function. Manual anti-glare rearview mirror, no glasses case, no panoramic mirror. During the annual facelift, Venza's central screen, both software and hardware, has been updated to the latest version of the family. The interface displayed is still very straight. Both iPhone CarPlay and Android connection have wireless connection capabilities. As an LE trim, this vehicle only has a reversing camera, and the reversing camera is relatively clear. Wide-angle reversing camera. Directional. Automatic AC in 2 zones. The 2 front seats don't have any ventilation or heating. There are 3 Type-C ports on the inner side of the lower layer. 1 is for data, 2 for charging, and a wireless charging pad below. EV mode, Sport mode, Normal mode, and Eco mode. The shift knob is still the thicker style of the Toyota family. When opened, the central armrest box has a moderate volume and a 12-volt charging socket. We have just checked out the data. Whether it is the data or the feeling we are sitting inside, we can feel that the Venza is actually not that spacious for its name of a large 5-seat. Generally speaking, the space is not much different from that of the RAV4. From the perspective of a premium 5-seat midsize SUV, you can see that it is indeed more premium than the RAV4, including workmanship and materials. Although it is only the LE level, overall it can be seen that the workmanship is more refined and the materials used are more sophisticated than the RAV4, but which are all relative. It also have the feel of the traditional seats that the Toyota family uses on vehicles in this class. The filling material is neither soft nor hard, and when you sit on it, you can't find any faults. but if you want to say how comfortable it is, it really can't be said. The seat cushions are long and high enough to support your legs. The LE trim has a fabric seat. The driver's seat is a power-adjustable seat with relatively traditional items. The lumbar support is adjustable in 2 directions. The passenger seat is manually adjustable. In terms of materials, the upper part is made of soft textured plastic, the lower part is decorated with leather, and the lower part is made of hard plastic. When you sit in the vehicle and look at the window frame, you can see the metal parts. The materials used for the door panels appear to be relatively careful. The upper part is made of leather, and the lower part is made of hard plastic. On the center console, as you can see, this position is wrapped in leather. It's a little bit different than the traditional Toyota products that are currently sold in North America, when the legs are resting on the center console and the lower part of it is touching the plastic. The Venza is actually quite comfortable to drive, and it's got that harmless Toyota feel to it that's good for both new and old drivers. In fact, if you do a good job with this Venza, I think it has the potential to be a big seller. And of course, Toyota's hybrids, they all have a universal habit. When the engine starts or when the engine accelerates rapidly, the engine noise is relatively loud, especially when it's cold, and it's been especially cold these past 2 days, so I've felt it a lot. When I sit in this vehicle, and now I adjust the seat to the lowest position, it can't give me a deeper feeling. It still feels like it is holding my body relatively high. Sitting in the second row, as you can see, the second row doesn't have a very noticeable raised effect. The view from the second row is actually not too far from the first row. The space in the second row is sufficient, but if it is positioned in the market segment of a large 5-seat mid-size SUV, it does not appear to be large enough in the back. Of course, there is definitely no problem with space, but relatively speaking, for its title of large 5-seat, it is not as big as imagined. The seats in second row do not have the couch-like soft feeling that a large 5-seater second row should have in our impression. It can be felt that the seats are relatively thin, but you can't figure out problems in any aspect, including that the seat cushion is high and long enough, which can basically support your legs well. The backrest also seems to have a certain soft feeling, but overall the seat seems relatively thin. Sitting on it does not have the feeling of being very thick and wrapping and supporting the body well. The most comfortable seats in the car are still the front 2. These 2 seats in the back actually would be better if they made this cushion a little bit thicker, but Toyota didn't. Seats don't adjust back and forth. Backrest elevation angle max. As an LE trim, the rear air conditioning cannot be adjusted by zone, and there are 2 air vents, 2 Type-C charger sockets underneath. There is a certain bulge in the central floor. Cause of its low front and high rear, the area of second row windows don't look very big. The door panels, the top, that's hard plastic leather. Hard plastics, the rear door panels are a little muddled, not as fine as the front panels. The second row center armrest is tall enough, and 2 cup holders on it. In summary, this is the farewell video of this 2024 model Venza. The advantages of Venza are actually very obvious. First of all, compared to RAV4, its workmanship is relatively refined. The materials used are also a bit better than the RAV4. At that time, there was a certain price difference between it and the RAV4, but now the RAV4 is no longer cheap. Moreover, the Venza we have seen before all were from Japan plant, and overall the workmanship is more refined and detailed than the RAV4. The Venza is a nice SUV to drive, as we've talked about before. Worry-free for both new and old drivers. In terms of design, compared to Toyota's current products in the US market, which are relatively rough in design, this Venza's design is more refined and graceful. If you like the Venza, and if there's good deal in the market, I think it's still a good choice. Some friends asked me about whether it's worth it to buy a car that's been discontinued. Following previous industry agreements, the manufacturer guaranteed the supply of parts for a vehicle for 25 years after discontinued. But now I'm afraid no auto manufacturer wants us to drive our cars last for 25 years. However, these Toyota products, including their powertrains and most parts, have a large number of spare parts and OEM parts sold on the market. I think everyone can still buy Venza with confidence. However, I have to say that we used to call it the new Venza, but now we are saying goodbye with a flick of our sleeves. Let this video be a commemoration today. I hope it will still a new and nice guy when it comes back. Buy what you like, don't control, don't be shy. Video above. Thanks, guys.